Holy cow. What a trip. My name's Mitch, and this is Mitch's Fake Radio Podcast, my maiden voyage. My friends at Strange Friends Media that have the podcast, Don't Make This Weird, said, Mitch, you should have your own podcast, and we should call it Mitch's Fake Radio. And I said, you're crazy. And then I said, okay, let me think about it. So I thought about it for, I don't know. It was probably a month or more. And then I thought, yeah, I could probably do that because I used to be on the radio. I was on the radio for 13 years and used to talk about all kinds of stuff. So I'm glad to be here and have an opportunity to have a podcast. It's different than radio because radio, you got to be tight. You got to know what you're talking about. You got to know where you're going, your next commercial. You got to know your next topic, your next guest, your next song. You got to have your shit together and you get ready to the top of the hour because you got news coming up and you've got weather and you got to do the tide change. If you're in tide change, if you're in South Carolina, because that's where I was for part of my radio career. And my sphincter was tight for 13 years. And now you should see it. It's so relaxed right now. It's crazy. So with the podcast, it's going to be different. I was trying to think, what could I talk about? And I thought I would talk about things that mean things to me. So I wrote down some ideas and I'll just rip down the list to see if there's anything you like. So I'm riding my bike, food, stand-up comedy, jokes, my son, my brothers, family, cats, both past and present, life, mortality, death, podcasts, radio, love, marriage, divorce, relationships, music, vacation, Netflix, Hell's Half Mile Music and Film Festival, taking control of your health and your mental status, just some of the things. So I guess I'll just probably move back to the top of the list and just probably start there and see what happens with riding my bike.
You're listening to Mitch's Fake Radio Podcast exclusively on Strange Friends Media Network. Find and follow Mitch's Fake Radio on Facebook and YouTube. Now, back to the show, to Mitch's Fake Radio.
What is that? It sounded so stupid. What is that? That's just going to happen? Okay, top of the list was my bikes. I love riding my bikes. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bikes. 2 I really love and ride a lot. My primary bike is my Bridgestone CB1, and the Bridgestone I bought in 1994 with my then wife Gretchen, and we bought two CB1s. We spent $400 on the 2 bikes, and they're great bikes. They were like $500 bikes. It was a very good deal. Last bikes Bridgestone made, and I love my bike. I'm still riding it today. Let's do the math. That's 24 years, right? I think it was 94 to 04 to 14 to 20 to that's 24 years, right? Yeah, 24 years I've had that bike and I still love it. I can hardly not even plan on buying a new one, but it doesn't shift as good anymore. So I'm probably going to buy a new good bike. So I ride that one a lot. And I also love my Huffy. I bought a Huffy Cranbrook at Goodwill for $40, still in the box. And funny story about the Huffy, if you've got a minute. I had seen this bike at Walmart or Walmart's, and my brother Jeff's bike was stolen. His Schwinn was stolen from his garage, and he had an $800 bike sitting right next to it, but they bought his cruisy old Typhoon. And they stole that bike from him. So I sent a picture of this burgundy and black Huffy Cranbrook bicycle to him. And I said, this is really cool. It's $80. He's like, yeah, no thanks. I'll get a Schwinn. So this one bike I take a picture of and send it to him. Months later, I find that exact bike in the box at Goodwill. What are the chances? So I thought I have to buy this bike. So I got it for $40, put it together on Christmas Day in my living room because I'm now divorced from my brand new ex-wife, Gretchen. And I can put a bicycle together in the living room if I fucking feel like it. So I did that and I pumped up the tires and I could actually ride it around in my house from the living room to the dining room to the kitchen to the other dining room to the living room to the around like that. And my son thought I was crazy, but I did it, never hit anything except the microwave. It's got that crack in the window, but I think it's still pretty safe. So I love the Huffy. I still ride the Huffy. I wrote it here today, actually, to the studios of Strange Friends Media Group to do the podcast. And I got a pair of aftermarket handlebars I bought at a bicycle swap meet, biggest bicycle swap meet in the country. Over 10,000 used bicycles in one place in Ann Arbor, the last day of April. And I went there and I stayed at an Airbnb. And that was really fun. The guy's name was Casca that owned the house that I stayed in. He's a little sparsely appointed, but it was still comfortable. And Casca was somewhat of Middle Eastern descent, maybe Chaldean or something like that. And he had a very thin beard that grew right down his neck into his shirt. And I thought, well, that's a little bit strange. But anyhow, I stayed at his house and lo and behold, I forgot my shave cream. So I'm in his bathroom and I'm thinking maybe he's got some shave cream. He's not going to have any shave cream. His goddamn beard grows right down his neck into his shirt. So there's obviously no shave cream. So I just made do with some soap and got cleaned up and left there, had a good night's stay. Airbnb, very cool, good way to go. Although I did not give him a good rating because the bathroom could have been a little cleaner. The toilet was a little pissy. So I just didn't rate him at all. I just left it, so it's like, like no news is good news, right? So I got up and very early, I went to the bicycle swap meet and what a great time. 10,000 used bikes, just the coolest old Schwinns and bikes going all the way back into the late 1800s. And it was a lot of fun. In fact, I was walking along and I heard these two guys talking. They're two vendors. And the one guy says, the other guy goes, and this is just in passing, I hear, he's like, yeah, I did that show, but this is the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl of used bicycles. And it was really, really the Super Bowl of used bicycles. I bought actually 3 pair of handlebars, tall handlebars that you would put like on a Schwinn Stingray from the 60s or 70s. One pair I paid $20 for, too much money. The other pair I paid $5 for, that was better price. And then one pair was for $1 and it was just a shorter pair. And I also bought a new seat and I got a really cool mirror for my helmet that's made out of a bike spoke and a Coca-Cola bottle cap. It's really cool. It looks like something like the professor from Gilligan's Island would make in his spare time on the island. Anyhow, so I've installed that on my helmet. It's very nice. And the handlebars were great. The big pair that I paid $20 for, they were big and they were comfortable on the bike, but not exactly what I wanted. So I took those off and I put the other pair on that were a little bit shorter and I painted them black. And then I noticed one of the sides was bent down. So I had to bend it back. So I put it in my vise and I'm bending steel like Superman. I'm pressing it against my chest. And then it came out of the thing and it scraped the skin off the back of my knuckle on my middle finger on my right hand. So if this was TV, I would be giving you the finger. And it was very painful. But I did paint the handlebars and I put them on and it looked great. I put a new pair of black and red handle grips on it. And so comfortable. It's such a cool bike. That's awesome. So that's 2 of my bikes. I have 3 other bikes. I have one JCPenney's fold-up travel bicycle from the 70s, and I have a Sears fold-up travel bike from the 70s. And I got those two bikes for $35 in Unionville. That's right. Just north of Cairo, Michigan, where this podcast is being broadcast from. So those bikes, they're kind of old and beat up. I'll probably keep them a little while, and they're fun to ride for novel purposes, but I'll probably sell them. So if you want a travel bicycle that you could fold in half and put into your RV, you can call me at do I have a phone number? I don't know if I have a phone number, but you could probably send like an email, or I'm on Tinder. So anyhow, or I don't know what I'm on. I'm on medication. I know that for sure, but it's very mild. It's just one you take. I don't want to get into it. So I've got one other bike. It is a Hawthorne Hiawatha. And this is a bike from the 1940s, and they would sell them at hardware stores. And this bike I thought had family significance because it came from Lake City, Michigan, where my parents had a trailer. And this was their vacation spot, which also the same town as my grandparents. And so I thought the bike came from my grandparents' house that my mom possibly rode when she was a little girl. Turned out it was bullshit. And it's a bike that my dad bought at a garage sale in Lake City. So I just have this classic bike that has no significance at all. So I'm going to refurbish that, clean it up, paint it up, put the other cool handlebars on it, and it's going to be a cool classic cruisy bike, So are we done? No, there's more. Okay, so I'm probably going to buy another bike. I'm going to get a new bike that I don't know if I want to get one of those large tired bikes or not. They are really, if you haven't rode one of those bikes, you really need to get on one at a bike shop and go for a spin, because they're a blast. They're like a clown bike, but they're so comfortable and they corner insanely easy. And so they're a lot of fun. I might wind up buying one of those if I wind up with disposable income from my new podcast. They didn't really tell me when this would start producing an income. They were very vague about that, the people that organized this getup. So we'll have to see. I don't even know what they payday is. I mean, do they have direct deposit? Somebody get Joey on the line, because I'm going to have to talk to him and find out what he has going on in terms of that. So I did mention in my list of thingy dingies there that I like stand-up comedy. I am a stand-up comedian, and I've been doing it in June. It will be 4 full years I've been doing stand-up comedy, and I love it. I write it every day. I wrote a new joke yesterday, and if I can think of it, I might tell it to you, but I can't remember it now. So that's why I do write it down. It's very important to write shit down. Joni Mitchell once said to Neil Young, "If you don't write it down, it doesn't exist." So Neil Young writes stuff down. So I figure if Joni Mitchell, great forgotten songwriter, can tell Neil Young, also another great forgotten songwriter, to write stuff down, then you should do that. So I do write my material down, but I love stand-up comedy. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm also the originator of Mitch Gill's Get a Room Comedy Club. I had to think about it for a second. I couldn't remember. So yeah, there's my poster right there. It's hanging up and everything. I had a show on Friday, May 18th that was a blast. I had comedians in there from all over the state, and we had so much fun. So my next show is September 22nd. So be sure to get to the Brentwood in Caro and get your tickets. They'll be $15, and I guarantee it will be the most fun you'll ever have in Caro. Other than listening to Mitch's Fake Radio, it will be the most fun you'll have. I really think so. And I will have approximately 6 shows next year, starting September 22nd, and then about every 6 weeks until May. And I'll have fresh comedians every time, and I will do fresh material every month. Sometimes, well, it's fucking fantastic every time. What am I saying? I'm never going to talk shit about my own material again. I am impeccable. Okay? I'll just do that and just say that because I am. I'm incredible. So, I mean, I'm really not. I try and I do my best. And
listening to Mitch's Fake Radio can really help.
What is this?
Oh yeah, before I found Mitch's Fake Radio, I used to have all kinds of problems and questions about bikes and cats, death, and Netflix and stuff like that. Now I was just doing better. I just ain't got so many questions and stuff no more. I'm doing a lot better. My mind is clearer. I'm sleeping better. I feel better. I think I'm even more regular in the bathroom. I mean, before it was awful. It was real runny and chunky and it was wet sometimes and just not good. And it burned.
Tell your friends they can have a better life too, just like you, if they listen to Mitch's Fake Radio on Strange Friends Media Group.
That's just crazy. They can't have these things. Did Joey do these? Did he come up with this shit? That's just crazy. How did this guy's life get better from listening to my podcast if this is the first one? God. Okay, well, so we could talk about cats. I love cats. I have one cat right now. His name is Balls, and Balls came into my life. It was, gosh, I guess about a year and a half ago. He came into our lives about 6 months, 7 months, 6 months before we lost Scribbles. And Scribbles was the original cat that we got here in Caro. He adopted us about 8 years ago now, and he was the coolest cat ever. My son was eating ice cream on the back porch, and he went to take a lick, and his ice cream fell off the cone onto the pavement. So he's about, 8 years old, 9 years old. So he goes in the house to get a paper towel, and he comes out, and this beautiful little calico cat is eating his ice cream. He's like, well, hi, what's your name? And he said, Scribbles. No, he didn't. My wife and son named him Scribbles, but he was just a super nice cat. So, days goes by and he keeps coming back. And then my wife and son started to let him into the house a little bit. And then he was going back out and in and out. And we realized he doesn't go in the house. Goes outside to do his business. And then I start warming up to him, and he's really digging me. And I mean, like every time I'd sit on the couch, that cat would find me and get right in my lap and just soak up the love. And so much so that over the years, my wife and son thought that we were gay together. And they thought that perhaps we had a relationship. And I never fucked that cat, ever. Although, if there was one I would fuck, it would have been Scribbles, because he was just such a great cat. I love that cat. And anyhow, years and years, and I never once saw the cat pee or poop anywhere on my property. He would leave the property to do his business. So I never saw it ever in 7.5 years. Isn't that amazing? It's just, it's incredible. So he got sick last year and was just, he lost a lot of weight. And then I noticed he started throwing up a lot. And so I thought something's not right. Took him to the doctor, and he had FIV, feline immune deficiency virus. And that is basically AIDS for cats. It's cat AIDS. And I did not give it to him. We always used a condom. He insisted. Okay. But we wound up having to put him down and buried him in the backyard. And it was sad. I love Scribbles, and I'm glad he's not suffering anymore. But through that process, about 6 months before he died, Balls started coming around, and we called him Balls. But he's a small red cat. He has enormous balls. I mean, they are like the size of they're in between a large Steely and a ping pong. Just enormous balls, and they felt wonderful. You just hold them and just, oh God, they were great. So anyhow, my son did not want me to have him fixed, but we did. We got him fixed because we put down Scribbles, and we had, and Balls had moved in. He started coming in the house, started hanging out. He was just like such a cool cat. And so we got him fixed, and then I changed his name to Ball Free because he didn't have balls anymore. And we tried Ball Free for a while, and it's a good name. It's like Jeffrey, because my brother's name is Jeffrey Leonard Gill. And so we thought Ball Free Leonard Gill would work, but it just didn't take. So we went back to Balls, but I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows that his balls are gone. I mean, it's just like an empty sack that flips around back there now. And it's a little weird to watch him lick it. Because he's like, goes up and it flops down, and it goes up and it flops down. You know, it's a little sandy tongue. But the balls are gone. I asked my son, "Do you want me to have him save them, and we can put them in a bag and hang them from your rearview mirror for a while if you want?" He's like, "No, just let him go." Yeah. So. I love Balls. He's a great cat. He's doing really well. And he does have a kitty litter in the house, although I might find one clump every 2 weeks because he just generally goes outside when he has to go to the potty. And that's very cool. And I told this story at my comedy show that at my comedy show, I do comment cards, and the guests can fill out a comment card and possibly win tickets to a future show or an autographed poster from that night's show. And also they could do a little artwork or say a comment, say something positive or negative, whatever they feel like saying about the night. 99% of them are positive. I get very good feedback because I'm a fucking beast at producing these shows. So there's another positive thing I'm saying about me. So anyhow,
listening to Mitch's Fake Radio can really help.
Before I started listening to Mitch's Fake Radio, like, my life was in shambles. I lost 12 jobs. I lost 15 of my cats, and now things are better. I mean, I've got Mr. Fluffy back, and Susie, and all kinds of different cats, and you should really listen to Mitch's Fake Radio. It will help you too.
Tell your friends they can have a better life too, just like you, if they listen to Mitch's Fake Radio on Strange Friends Media Group.
Oh, that's great. Sounds like I have a whole bunch of really, really dysfunctional reject listeners already, and I've just started tonight. So that's pretty cool. So where was I? The comment cards. I've got these comment cards from my comedy show, and they at the show I collect them in a box on the stage, and then they usually hang around a while before I get to reading the comments, because I read some at the following show. So I will literally sit down the day or the day before the next show and read all the comments. So I'm standing in the living room with my son, and we're having conversation, and Balls is in the room. Okay, Balls, my cat. He's in the room, and he walks across the room with both of our attention as we're talking. We see him walk, and then he jumps into my comment card box. He jumps into my comment card box and starts pissing. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're pissing on my comments. So I run over there and I grab him and I throw him out the front door. I'm like, Spencer, he's just peed on my comment cards. And what am I going to do? He's like, I don't know, man. You're going to have to, I don't know, wash them or something. So I want to put him on my back porch. They dried out. So they have dried urine on them. So I put some thought to it. And what I wound up doing is taking 2 of them and putting them back to back. And I put them in sandwich baggies. First, I was wearing surgical gloves, blue ones. And I put them in sandwich baggies and zipped them. So I did that with about 12 of them. So I had some comments. And then I took them to the following show and I put on rubber gloves and I read them. But I forgot to let the audience in on why I was wearing surgical gloves and the comments were in bags. So that was kind of like, well, that was stupid. That was a perfectly good joke I forgot to tell. Then I told it at the next show and nobody remembered. So that's it. But anyhow, I love my cats. Love scribbles and balls. And I will, I don't know if I'll always have a cat, but I probably will because they're just pretty cool. My brand new ex-wife bought me a nice men and cats book, coffee table book for Christmas. And I've actually had balls come up into my lap, which I generally have balls in my lap, but this was my cat balls. He sat in my lap and we read the book together. We've done it 2 times and we're about 3/4 of the way through the book. And they're very cool, very, very cool guys. These are some geeky looking guys and some, what do they call those? Hipster looking guys and some cool goatees and haircuts. And I'm like, shit, I fit right in. So it's a cool cat book. I really like that. So, well, there's cats and bikes and stand-up comedy and probably talk about Netflix for a second. I don't even know what time it is. It's 8:30, about there. This is going good. I thought it'd burn right out. I thought I would have nothing to talk about. But apparently I'm a bottomless pit of useless bullshit. And that is really the heart of what Strange Friends Media Group is all about, is let's think up the most useless things we can do and put them on the internet. And first thought they had was Mitch Gill. Let's get him in here. I mean, good Lord. So Netflix, there's not that much. Well, there is some good funny stuff. They've got the new program called Stand-Ups, the Stand-Ups. That's a real good show. There's some very funny comedians on there. I saw Rachel Feinstein on there. I can't think of the other names of people on there, but that's a very good show if you're into stand-up comedy. Not a big investment. They're only 30 minutes a piece. So it's a nice tight 30 to see in a very, very sassy theater. So that's a good show. Favorite shows on Netflix that I've watched is probably way back in the day was Lost. I really enjoyed that. That one fucked me up for a while. It was kind of weird for a while watching Lost because I'm like, it's just like my life was kind of like altered because of Lost. And then later I got into Breaking Bad. That was very good show. I enjoyed that. And since have enjoyed Better Call Saul. Great spinoff. Great job with that show. And Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, it was an interesting look into that lifestyle, into those biker type people, and to see what kind of person would look good on a motorcycle and cool in a leather coat and actually wear a full size, 18-inch hunting knife on their belt, which was like, that's not something really you use unless you go to a picnic and you've got a watermelon situation. That hunting knife could come in handy, or, for the forearm of a rival gang member, or a watermelon. It's like either one of those two, but that hunting knife was always kind of screwed me up. The Jax wore on Sons of Anarchy. Of recent, I've enjoyed a show called Safe with Michael C. Hall, who was Dexter. And that's a pretty good show. I've enjoyed this show. It's an English show, and he's comes off with this really good English accent. So good, I had to Google him to see if he was English or not. I wasn't sure because it was kind of trippy. So it's a podcast. I can just stop and when I'm talking and have a drink of whatever I'm drinking. That's really refreshing. I'm drinking LaCroix. Yeah. My friend at work calls it La Crap. I'm like, you're just tainted because you drink Mountain Dew and Monsters and Rockstar bullshit. This has fizzy in it and nothing else. So it's good. I just like it with a little ice and that's it. So I've just wet my whistle. So Netflix is awesome. I think it is a fantastic thing. And I didn't even mind when it went up. The price went up to a month ago, and went from $12.99 to or $11.99 to $13.99, I believe. I'm okay with that because it's a great service that I think it provides, and their original programming is spot on. It almost feels like it steps out of the norm of what Hollywood does. Like I really enjoyed the TV show called Glow, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. It's a very good show. It's supposed to be based in 1985 or so, 84, something like that. And it co-stars Marc Maron, host of another podcast, WTF. I can't believe I'm in anywhere near the same arena as Marc Maron. I'm on the internet too. It's fucking awesome. So I think the 29th of this month is season 2 of Glow on Netflix. So if you haven't seen Glow, watch it, especially if you like wrestling at all. Even if you don't, because I'm not a wrestling fan, and I watched Glow and I really, really enjoyed it. They do have some big wrestlers on there doing some training for the girls, and they're actual wrestlers. So if you're a Naven buff devotee of wrestling, you're going to know that, I'll know that guy. He's a, whatever, big slippery, whatever his name is. Exactly. So I'm looking forward to season 2 of Glow. So that's a good one. I don't know what else I watch on Netflix. It's just a great service. I got Hulu too, but I don't sit down in front of the TV long enough to be able to watch Hulu. So I'm basically paying for that for my brand new ex-wife and her parents. They're also under my Netflix and Hulu umbrella, and they're enjoying those services too. So that just means that I'm a nice guy, that I'm available to provide television programming for current and past family members. Yeah, Stranger Things. That's another one. Digging it. Because what's funny about Stranger Things is it's what year is that based in? I can't remember. Is that 83? 1984, something like that? That's a good one because I'm from the 80s. Yeah, I'm from the 70s and the 80s. So I remember all that shit. I'm actually from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. Yeah. I'm really old. By the way, if you're just tuning in, I am 53 years old. I'll be 54 next month on June 27th. So you might want to mark that on your calendar. So you'll know to send me a birthday wish. Maybe. So that's it. Yeah, I'm digging Stranger Things. I don't know when season 2 will hit of Stranger Things. I don't know. The 3rd month of next year, maybe. I don't know when it'll hit, but I will definitely be curled up around my TV watching Netflix for sure for Stranger Things. So other things that we can talk about are well, you know, I don't want to go bananas on it or anything, but I do want to mention food because I've made changes in my life and in my diet over the last 7+ years that have made a big impact on the quality of life that I'm enjoying now. So I like to tell people that I'm gluten free. Yeah, I went gluten free on February 27th, 2011, and it changed pretty much everything for me, and I really enjoy the size I am now. I'm 5'8" and I'm 166.4 pounds. That's like doable, you know. I don't grunt when I tie my shoes. That's really nice. And I wake up in a good mood and I go to bed in a good mood, and my sinuses are better. My joints move better, and I don't have heartburn. I don't get bloated. Very regular in the bathroom. And my shit smells of lavender and roses. So that's what, come on. What more could you hope for? And I believe I'm the first person that's gluten-free that can say that. But no, actually, it really doesn't have too bad a smell to it. Usually firm, medium in size, no more smell than a biscuit. Now I stole that from that movie, The Road to Wellville. That was the Kellogg movie about the Kellogg family. It's a crazy movie. I could still watch the movie, although I'm gluten-free, and that was grains in that movie because that's what the cereal business is. So, but I really dig being gluten-free. I feel really, really good, and everybody, all my friends, and everybody thinks I'm insane for not eating normal food, but I could give a shit because I'm feeling incredible, and I wish they would too, so they could feel good too. So I don't want to knock anybody for not doing it, but I would sure invite anybody to contact me anytime to talk about food if you want to feel better than you've ever felt before. Because the way I like to look at it is I ate like an idiot for 47 years, and now I eat good food and feel incredible, and I'm not an idiot anymore. And so it's a good thing. And I would also like to say about this style of eating, it's cleared up my mind. I'm not as cloudy as I used to be. My thoughts are clearer, and I don't lose track of what I'm thinking about as easy as I used to. And like when I get a good idea and I'm thinking about it, and I really want to like get it down on what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Netflix. I love Netflix. I've been watching a lot lately. Good stuff. There's a show called Stranger Things. Really good show. It's about these kids and the upside down and just crazy shit. It's just I just love it. it's just a really, really good show to watch.
You're listening to Mitch's Fake Radio Podcast, exclusively on Strange Friends Media Network.
Okay, is that
Find and follow Mitch's Fake Radio on Facebook and YouTube.
Okay, is that done now?
Now, back to the show, to Mitch's Fake Radio.
Okay, great. So those things are just going to be happening like whenever. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, Joey, I think deep down he's a genius, but he definitely needs work for sure. So we could talk a little bit about Hell's Half Mile Film and Music Festival. It's coming up the last weekend of September in beautiful downtown Bay City, Michigan, and HHM Fest. I think just HHM Fest. You can do a search on that on Netflix. Or I mean, not on Netflix, but on Facebook, or just do HHM Fest on the internet and find them and get more information. But it's great independent filmmakers from Michigan and some from elsewhere in the country. And they put on movies all over Bay City, at the State Theater, the Masonic Temple, several different places you could see a movie at HHM Fest. And what I like to do, because I'm a geek, I buy the whole weekend pass for, I don't know, it's like maybe $55 or $60. And so my weekend pass gets me in to go to all the events, every single event. And that includes all the indie rock that they have, and different music things they have going on, which are really good shows. And then they'll have a big show on Friday and a big show on Saturday. And Saturday night, they'll do that show. And at the end of that show, if you stay late, they'll announce the secret after party. Yeah. And I don't want to burp because I'm on the internet. But anyhow, I was there a couple of years ago for that announcement of the secret after party, and they had it over at Intermission Deli. And what it was you go there at like it was 2 o'clock, 2 or 2:30 it started. So I go in there and I'm just hanging out, got a bottle of water and waiting for whatever's going to happen. And they had 2 rap artists. These guys were a little younger than me. So they're in their mid to late 30s, maybe 40s. And they projected some cartoon imagery on the wall and had that changing and moving at times. And then they kicked out the jams with a keyboardist and a DJ that was scratching. And these 2 guys went to rapping, and they were insane. Like Beastie Boys, old school rap. And it was awesome. And they played till 3:30. It was the best ever. So that was at Intermission Deli in the middle of the night on the weekend of Hell's Half Mile. So it was so cool, so much fun. And I can't wait. What I do is I contact Bay City and I find a cheap hotel room through like Priceline or Hotwire. I might even do Airbnb. Not sure. Find another guy with hair growing down his neck all the way into his shirt. So I get a hotel room, hotel motel, and stay up there. And then I get on my bike, and I ride from venue to venue, watching movies and digging live music right in Bay City. It's incredible, and it's right there. It's right at our doorstep. So if you haven't been part of Hell's Half Mile, get to it. This is year 12 or 13, I think, and they have achieved nonprofit status for the festival. So that will be interesting to see what it does to the festival. It might change a little bit this year. Hopefully for the good. And it's just a great festival. They work very hard to put on a good, tight show. tight festival, lots of fun and interesting stuff. So that happens the 28th, 29th, 30th, I think, of September. I don't have a calendar on me, but it is the last weekend of September. So please look up HHM Fest and get more information for yourself on that festival. And I'm going to get a look at a real clock to see what time it is. I have to get my enormous, ridiculous clown-sized phone out of my pocket and take a look. It is 8:45, so we have 15 minutes left of my very first podcast. I think it's going pretty good. It just kind of feels like it is. So if we go back to radio, I was working in pizza in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Socastee, which is the other side of the Intercoastal Waterway. It's actually not. It's the other side of Highway 17 bypass in Myrtle Beach by the Myrtle Beach Jetport, and used to be an air base back there in the 80s. So I was working down there making pizza in 1986. In early 1987, I was down there making pizza, and this radio station, WNMB, went off the air at midnight. He said, we'll be back on at 6 a.m. So I called the radio station. I said, hey, why are you going off the air? He says, we lost our midnight guy, so we're just shutting it down. I'm like, I will come up there right now. I'll do a radio show until 6 a.m. He's like, yeah, no, you can't do that, but you're welcome to come in and maybe intern and then maybe eventually get a shift. So I did that, and I went up and I sat with a guy named Phil Thompson a couple nights a week. I would get his coffee. I would get his stacks of cartridges that music used to be on, and go to the music room and get them for him. And he would taught me about radio, and I wound up getting a one-night shift, midnight to 6 a.m., Sunday night to Monday morning. And it was horrible. And there was 7 days in between each shift. So I was starting at square one every week because I forgot everything I learned the week before. And eventually it snowballed into 2 nights, and then 3 nights and 4 nights. And then I went full time working midnights. And then I left there to work at a rock station an hour away and make less money. I'm thinking, I'm getting on the ball with this radio thing and doing it exactly like the rumors I'd heard that it was horrible. So I did that, and I was working at Rock 98, the Strand's only rock and roll. And that was pretty cool because it was classic and current rock, and that was a blast. I did midnights down there for about a year and a half doing that. And that was pretty crazy because that one night I was going to the station riding my motorcycle, and I see this animal on the side of the road, these giant fangs sticking up on the side of its mouth, enormous animal. So I turn around on the highway in the grass, and I circle back, and I come back and put my brights on him and look at him for a second. He looks up at me like, holy shit. So I sped past him. I just bit my lip, by the way. Oh God, I think I might be bleeding. God damn it. Yeah, I am. I'm bleeding. So anyhow, I get to the radio station, and my friend David Hardy, whom I don't remember his real name, and would love to find David again and talk to him. Can't find him. His name was David Hardy back in the 80s. Fake name. So anyhow, he fell through the cracks. I get in there. We're doing our shift change at 11 o'clock. And I said, dude, I just saw this very large, strange, beastly type animal on the side of the highway. He had fangs. He was eating something. He says, man, you just saw a wild boar. I'm like, what? He says, yeah, they're all over down here. They're a problem. A wild boar. That was a big one. How big? And I'm showing him. He said, he's probably 400 or 500 pounds. I'm like, no shit. It was actual wild boar eating some other dead animal on the side of the road. That's like, wow. Because, you know, pigs will eat anything. Like the mafia guys will throw a dead body, all except for its teeth, into their pen because they'll eat everything. So that's just crazy. So I worked at Rock 98 for a while, and then I left there and I worked at Sunny 106.5, The Beaches, Sensational FM. And that was for about a year. And I was the midday guy there. And I got onto the morning show with an old radio guy named Russ Spooner, who I'm sure is dead from alcoholism by now. And that was fun for a while. And then the radio station was not doing well. And some crazy shit, you guys. You're not going to believe this, but turns out the general manager of that station, the guy that owned the station, was insane. He would have to call New York to get more money to keep the station going because it wasn't making any money. And he would scream and yell and kick his garbage can in his office. And he was this sweaty, weird looking guy. Later, I find out. Are you sitting down? Good. Later, I find out the guy in New York was fucking him. Yeah, it's weird. They were having they had a strange, torrid relationship, these two guys. So that's weird. I'm sorry. This went to a weird place, but that was very strange to hear that after the fact. I was not surprised at all. So that was some crazy stuff. Went from Sunny 106.5 back to WNMB for a very short time. Then I went to Y103, the Grand Strand's 12 in a row country. And that was a cool station for the most part. I liked the staff. The general manager there was a real genuine piece of shit, grade A piece of shit. That guy was useless, and he did not pay me. I was making $12,000 a year. So it was horrible. I had the midday position. I had the second best ratings in the market. So I go into his office one day. I said, Gary, I have to have $15,000 a year. This is 1989. He looks at me. He says, Mitch, you're not worth $15,000 a year. So I said, okay, I walked down the hallway back to the studio. I turned around and walked right back there. I said, I quit. I'm going home to live with my mom and dad, and I'm going to look for a real job in radio. And I did. And I left there, and I went to East Lansing, Michigan, and worked at Smooth Jazz WXMX, Lansing Smooth Jazz Station, FM 92. Great station. I was making $24,000 a year there. Nice starting wage, feeling good, feeling better about myself. Fuck you, Gary, piece of shit. So that felt better. So then I worked there for a year and a half, and then we were sold and they fired everybody, which was terrible. It's the second time that had happened because they did that at Rock 98 too. They fired everybody. And I thought, this radio thing, I don't know. This is crazy. I think maybe in the future someday, if I could work in a fake radio, that would be cool. Maybe in a fake radio where I don't know if I'm making any money at all, but I might make money someday if this turns into something worth something. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that it does. So then I worked there for a year and a half, enjoyed that, had to go back with my mom and dad for just like very, very short time for like a month or so. Got a job at the Palace, was working at the Palace in guest services. That was cool. And then I went to work in Lapeer at Wings 103, which back then was a rock station. That was cool. I was on nights for a very short time, and then they moved me to the morning show, and I did good there. I had fun there for 4 years and had lots of partners. Mitch and Sherry, Mitch and Russ, Mitch and Tommy, Mitch in the Morning Wood. I I had so many partners. I went through partners like I went through underwear, but I never went through my partner's underwear. Not even once. That joke is so old. I've been telling it for so many years. It's crazy. Well, we're winding down. I can't believe it. It's getting close. I have like 5 minutes left of my first podcast, and there hasn't been too much dead air. It's gone pretty well. We've had a couple of interruptions. I don't know if there was any more left, but well, I certainly hope we won't get interrupted anymore with those annoying interruptions.
This is the Strange Friends Media Group. Be sure to listen to Don't Make This Weird podcast Thursday nights at 8 on Facebook and YouTube with Heather, Tony, and the president and CEO of Strange Friends Media, Joey Strange. It's 2 hours you'll never get back, but you'll be glad you blew it with them. The Don't Make This Weird podcast exclusively on Strange Friends Media Group.
Okay. All right. That was good. That is a really good podcast. I enjoy that. And I mean, I've been on it twice, and it was 2 hours both times, and I was glad I blew it with them. And when you're in a circle and you're blowing it with somebody, that's kind of fun. Of course, we're just talking about time. But it was fun. That's a good podcast. I've listened to it a few times at home while doing the dishes. Very good. I cooked some fly lice one time while listening to your podcast, and it was very good fly lice. I like it. It was good. So I'll probably be back next month. I'm thinking it's going to be on is this the last Monday of this month? This is. So it would probably be the last Monday of next month, which will be June. So in fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what day that is so you can mark on your calendar and see what day Mitch will be back with another podcast. Last Monday of June will be June 25, right? 30 days has September, April, June, and November. I just felt like saying that because I know it. June has 30 days. So June 25th would be the last Monday in June. So that's what we'll go ahead and count on that. And I'm going to put it in my calendar so I can remember that. And you guys can come back. And by then, I'm hoping we'll have a Facebook page for this podcast. And then apparently it's going to bump over to YouTube. I don't know any of that stuff. That's what my good friends at Strange Friends Media Group are taking care of all that stuff for me to make this virtually a turnkey operation. I mean, you just walk in and sit down in this lavish studio. I mean, there's bottles of water. There's a ream of paper. There's guitars and shit. It's cool. There's a keyboard right here. This is actually it's electric keyboard. It's like a giant Casio. You know, if you guys don't want this, I know a very small church you could take this to and give it to them free of charge, because that would be a good thing. You would feel extra special good about yourself, because if you did, then you'd be an organ donor. Okay. Yeah, that's an old Mitch Gill joke. I wrote that when I was at the recycler, and I saw that, and I said that to the recycling attendant, and he looked at me like I was an asshole. He's like, I'm not carrying anything to a church for you, mister. Just leave your old iron and your typewriter that you were probably texting on earlier, and leave the recycling center. So it's 8:59. What do you do? Do you give me a countdown? Do you say, do the cross the throat cut thing like now? Just wrap it up now. Is that what you're telling? All right, you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in to Mitch's Fake Radio and the very first podcast ever in my life. Thank you. I had so much fun. I love you. Bye.